engine. Okay, so now you can see here an animation is playing. Okay, right. So this is the 4-stroke engine. Here, this is the crank, the semicircular one, and this is the connecting rod, and this is the piston. Now the yellow colored one is the air fuel mixture, and the black one is the exhaust. Okay, now see here. Now suction is starting, air fuel mixture is entering, compression. At the end of the compression stroke, the spark is injected, that red colored one. Due to that, explosion is taking place, and thereby the high pressure, high temperature gases pushes the piston downward direction. That is the power stroke or expansion. Then the return stroke of the piston will remove the gases into the atmosphere. Right. So it is very simple as that. This is the petrol engine. You can see here the here spark plug is there. Whereas in case of diesel engine, here spark plug is replaced by fuel injector, and in place of air plus fuel, only air will be admitted. The remaining process will remain same. Maybe the size of engine may be bigger for diesel engine. Okay. It's not going. Right. Now you can see here multi-cylinder
What would it be
engine.
replaced by?
So, sorry.
Replace, what do you say? Can you go back to the previous animation?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here,
this
this is the
piston.
petrol engine. The yellow
Yeah.
colored one is the air plus petrol.
Okay.
Okay, and this middle one is the spark plug, and here the red colored one is the spark. Whereas in diesel engine during suction stroke, only air will be admitted into the engine cylinder. Only air will be admitted, and at the end of the compression, diesel will be injected. Thereby the combustion initiated. As I told, during the compression stroke, the air is compressed to a temperature of auto ignition temperature of diesel, self ignition temperature of diesel. At that time, if you inject the diesel, automatically the combustion will take place. Those are the two differences between petrol engine and diesel engine. One is during the suction stroke. During suction stroke in petrol engine, air plus petrol will be entered into the engine cylinder, whereas in case of diesel engine, only air will be entered in the engine cylinder. And at the end of the compression stroke, spark is initiated in petrol engine and diesel is injected in diesel engine. Those are the two differences. Clear now?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Now you can see here multi-cylinder engine. That may be, yeah, here you can see spark plugs. I can see it is petrol engine. Now tell me total how many cylinders are there?
4.
Four.
4 cylinders are there, right?
Four
Now you can
cylinders.
see a big wheel is there on left side. Can you see here? A
Yes,
big
sir.
wheel. Yeah, this is the
Yes,
flywheel.
sir.
This is the
Flywheel.
flywheel. Okay, and this shaft is there. This is the crankshaft. This is the crankshaft, and here we have 4 pistons. These pistons and crankshafts are connected by using connecting rod. Okay, so right now in one multi-cylinder engine, do you think all cylinders fire at a time? Means combustion will take place at a time?
No, different time.
No.
No, sir.
If combustion will takes place on all cylinders at a time, the main problem is balancing problem. Okay, so because we will get a high power at one stroke, right? So that is the reason in multi-cylinder engine we used to term the let me share the screen again. Yeah, roll number 1 or 2, mute your mic. Yes, yes. Right. Now here we used to call it as firing order. Okay, that term is the firing order. That's right. Now you can see here. Now tell me in which cylinder the combustion is taking place first, or you can see suction. Tell me.
1, 3, 4.
In can you tell me the order? First suction is taking place in first cylinder, then the suction is taking place in 3, then the suction is taking place in 4, and suction is taking place in 3. Observe carefully. 1, 3, 4, 2. In the same way, the firing is also taking place. The firing order is 1, 3, 4, 2. Observe the figure carefully. First combustion is taking place in cylinder 1, then the combustion is taking place in cylinder 3, then 4 and 2. This is the firing order. Okay. The blue colored one are the inlet
Yes, sir.
valves and red colored one are the exhaust valves, right now. So why the firing is taking place means it depends upon the camshaft, means the design of the camshaft will permit to operate the valves. Based on the valves, the firing will take place. At what time the inlet valve has to open, at what time the spark need to inject, at what time the exhaust valve needs to close. The whole thing is taken care by the camshaft. The camshaft plays a major role in working of an IC engine. Camshaft. Okay, right. Now you can see these are the valve springs. Right now, these are the valve springs, because after opening, again we need to close the valves, right? So with the help of this spring force, the valves are getting closed. Can I move to next slide?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now this is the external combustion engine. Okay, we can see it is a steam engine, right? Here somewhere here the combustion is taking place, right? Due to the combustion, hot gases will be liberated. So these hot gases are used to heat the water, thereby the water is converted into the steam, and that steam is expanded inside the piston cylinder, thereby the locomotive will start moving. This is the external combustion engine. Right now, so means here the products of combustion are passing into the engine, means somewhere we are firing and that products we are taking into the engine, right? So the combustion is taking place outside the engine, therefore we are calling it as external combustion engine. This is also another type. So this is the steam engine. This is also external combustion engine. Okay, so you can see here condenser, evaporator, all the parts are there. Okay, here you have piston cylinder arrangement, right? The products of combustion, nothing but steam, is used inside the engine. This is also external combustion engine. Right. Now coming to our internal combustion engines, we have spark ignition engine and compression ignition engine. Yesterday itself I told all petrol engines works based on the SI engine. All petrol engines are SI engines because we are using spark plug to ignite or to start the combustion. Therefore, all petrol engines are called spark ignition engine. Why all petrol engines are called spark ignition engines? Because we are using spark plug to start the combustion, to initiate the combustion. Therefore, all petrol engines are spark ignition. Whereas compression ignition engine, we are using compressed air. We are using compressed air to start the combustion. To start the combustion. That is the reason all diesel engines are called CA engines, and all petrol engines are called SI engines. Now, this is SI engine and CA engine. Just now I told, right? An engine in which combustion process in each cycle is started by external spark, that is by using spark plug. Here in this, the combustion starts when the air fuel mixture self ignites due to the high temperature inside the combustion chamber caused by the compression of air. That is the compression ignition engine. Okay. So this is also a small animation, single cylinder engine. Here you can see this blue colored one is the suction. Let me start. Suction, compression. At the end of the compression, spark is initiated, then expansion, then exhaust. So the pressure and temperatures are rising. Here you can see here in the meter, this period is suction, compression, then expansion and exhaust. So in CA engine, the difference is earlier you can see here we have spark plug in petrol engine. Here the spark plug is replaced by fuel injector. Remaining everything will be same. All parts are same. Valves will be same. Everything. And one more thing here, only air will be admitted, and diesel fuel is injected. Fuel is injected at the end of the compression stroke. Okay, and 4-stroke cycle engine and 2-stroke cycle. It has 4 piston strokes or 2 revolutions of the crank for each cycle. Whereas here 2 piston strokes or 1 revolution of the crank for generating 1 power stroke. Now, so now you can see these are the parts of an engine. Coming from the bottom, this is the crankcase. This is the crankcase. It consists of lubricating oil. It consists of lubricating oil, and this is the crank, and this is the connecting rod. This is the connecting rod. Okay, so the bigger end of the connecting rod is connected to the crank by using crank pin, and the smaller end of the connecting rod is connected to the piston by using gudgeon pin or piston pin. We used to call it as piston pin or gudgeon pin, and this is the crank pin. Okay, right. So you can see this is bigger end, this is the smaller end, and the cross section of this connecting rod is I section. I told yesterday itself. The purpose of connecting rod is to convert rotary motion of crank into reciprocating motion of piston. Means always the connecting rod oscillates inside the engine cylinder. Okay, and you can see this is the cylinder block. This is a cylinder block. Okay, inside the cylinder block we have cylinder liner. Okay, to why we are using cylinder liner? To create friction free surface. Means right now, to create friction free surface, to reduce the friction, we are using cylinder liner. Okay, there will be one more advantage also, because the replacement of liner is easy as compared to the total cylinder, the cost point of view. If any problem occurs, let us say due to the wear of the, if the piston rings wear or worn out, what will happen? The piston directly rub the cylinder liner, right? So due to that, it loses its finish. Once the it loses its finish, there will be leakage of the gases into the crankcase and oil into the combustion chamber. Thereby, you will get exhaust as the smoke. Okay, right. I'll explain in detail. Okay, just know the parts. Just now you can see there will be some grooves over the piston, right? Inside the grooves, piston rings are going to sit, because there will be small clearance between piston and cylinder. Okay, so in that clearance, the piston rings and oil ring, there are two sets of rings actually. Okay, so one is the compression ring. Compression rings we can call. Second set of rings are called oil rings. Oil rings. Okay, so here basically at the top side of the piston we have compression rings, bottom side of the piston we have oil rings. Means the main purpose of compression rings are, it won't allow the gases, because the pressure and temperature at the end of the combustion will be very high. Those high pressure, high temperature gases, right? So they have high pressure. These compression rings will restrict the gases not to enter into the crankcase. With help of compression rings, purpose is to stop the gases entering into the crankcase. Okay, right? And whereas coming to oil rings are located at the bottom side. It won't allow the oil to enter into the combustion chamber. If oil enter into the combustion chamber, what will happen? If you burn the oil, what you will get? You will get smoke as the exhaust. Okay, means in your engine, you are getting smoke as exhaust in 4-stroke. So basically in 4-stroke petrol engine, we should not get any smoke. If you are getting smoke, it means that the piston rings are worn out. The piston rings are worn out, right? Means immediately if you rectify with less money, right? So it will be solved. Suppose if you neglect that, if you continue to use that engine, though it is giving smoke, what will happen? The piston will rub against the cylinder liner. The piston, right now, the piston will rub against the cylinder liner. So then what will happen? If there is no, because of liner's problem, we are getting smoke. Still you are using, means directly the piston will touch the cylinder head. Thereby what will happen? The bore, the size of the cylinder will increase. At the second stage, the problem can be rectified by replacing the piston of bigger size, because already the cylinder bore is expanded. Still, if you further used, though it is giving smoke, then the cylinder will also worn out. Means you need to replace complete engine. It will be very costly. Right? Initial stages only rings are sufficient. If you second stage, piston can be replaced. Third stage, the entire bore you need to replace. It is highly costly affair. Okay, so that is why we are getting smoke in the silencer, means the piston rings are worn out. That is the reason. Okay, now cylinder block and combustion chamber. What is mean by combustion chamber? Combustion chamber is nothing but the gap between, it is the space between piston head and cylinder head. The combustion chamber is not constant, right? So it will vary from small valve to big. Means if the piston is nearer to TDC, the combustion chamber is very small. If the piston is far away from TDC, the combustion chamber is bigger. Means big one. Means it is in terms of volume I am talking about. Okay, then you know this is the intake valve and this is the exhaust valve, right? And this is the camshaft, the projected one, right? And these are the springs. Okay, so this valve is operated by using this camshaft, and this is the spark plug as usual, exhaust valve, and this is the cylinder head. So cylinder is not a single part, right? So cylinder over the top there will be the head, cylinder head. Over the cylinder head we have valve arrangement. Okay, it is not a single component, two components are joined. Cylinder head is fixed over the cylinder. Okay, and over the cylinder head we have spark plug and inlet valve and outlet valve. And this is the piston and crankcase. Any doubt in the parts, students?
No, sir, but I have one question.
Yeah, please.
Why are you using cylindrical shape for piston? Can we not use another shape?
Because if you which shape you are talking about, tell me.
Any other shape?
Yeah, let us take
rather-
rectangle rather than cylindrical, rectangle. What will happen? Tell me. Anyone?
Piston rings won't fit.
Piston.
That
Pist-
piston rings we will.
Okay,
not
piston
be able-
rings we can manufacture rectangular shape. The main problem is friction will be more between the because the contact surface is more.
Okay.
I'll ask one question to that guy. Why the manholes are in a circular shape rather than rectangular or square? Drainage manholes.
No idea. Sir.
No idea. You think. Okay. If you don't get, I'll tell you tomorrow.
I've seen
think-
rectangle shape.
Uh,
I've seen rectangle shape also for manual.
very few rectangular shape maybe for domestic purpose.
Sir, what
Okay.
about triangular shape?
Sorry.
Rotary engine.
It won't
sir.
fall down. Will not get in the drainage.
One person, please.
The shape is circular so that it won't
Yeah.
get inside the drainage.
Yes, because are you where how whatever the direction you keep, it will be equal to diameter. Okay, if it is a rectangle, so what will happen? One side the length will be more, other side the length will be less. So there may be chances of falling into the manhole. So that is the reason the manhole covers are cylindrical in shape. Okay,
Sir, rotary engine, they are in triangle shape.
So
rotary.
can you repeat that?
Rotary engine.
See, if the manhole is in circular shape, from here to here if you measure, from here to here if you measure, in whatever the direction you keep, it is equal to diameter. Means there is no question of entering this cover into the hole. Okay, if it is a rectangle, what will happen? One side is bigger in diameter, bigger in dimension, other side is smaller in dimension, right? While closing, there may be chances of slipping into the hole. That is the reason they are designed in circular shape. Some rotary something I heard.
Sir, they are triangular in shape, no, sir, rotary engine. So how that's possible?
No, rotary engines are not triangular in shape. They're
think
also
so.
cylindrical. No. You check once again. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Now, so components we will discuss one by one. So block, it is the body. Just now we discussed, right? Body of the engine contains cylinders. It is made up of cast iron or aluminium. Okay. So cast iron or aluminium is the material, and cylinder, the circular one cylinder in the engine block in which the pistons reciprocates to and from motion, that is the cylinder. The one which closes the cylinder is called cylinder head. Usually this cylinder head consists of valves as well as the what we call the provision for fixing of the spark plug. Okay, and usually the containing part of the clearance volume of the combustion chamber, right? So the gap between the cylinder and cylinder head is the clearance volume, and the combustion chamber is the end of the cylinder between the cylinder piston head and cylinder head, where the spark injected, that is the combustion chamber. The size of the combustion chamber varies continuously. When the piston is nearer TDC, it is minimum, and when the piston is moving away from the TDC, it will become maximum. The gap between the piston cylinder head and piston, but that is the combustion chamber. Right, you can see this is the block, cylinder block. It is a 4-cylinder engine, cylinder block, and this is the, what is this one? Tell me.
Cylinder head.
Head. This is the cylinder head. You can see these are the provision for the valves. So these are the valves. It is a 4-cylinder engine. Okay. So the same thing is here. Just fuel injector, inlet valve, exhaust valve, everything is there. Normal. So this is the how the cylinder and cylinder head and cylinder blocks are made. So by forging. So most of the parts of the engine are manufactured by using either forging operation or casting operation. You already studied about casting and forging in manufacturing process. What is mean by casting? Melting the material and pouring into the cavity. Yes or no? It is a replica of the object, right? So melting and pouring into the die, we will get the casting. What is meant by forging? Heating to the
Heating the material and giving the shape.
heating the material and applying the blows so that we'll get the desired shape. That is the forging. Okay, and crankshaft. Crankshaft, it is the rotating shaft through which engine work output is supplied to the external systems. Okay, so the crankshaft is connected to engine block with help of main bearings, and it is rotated by reciprocating pistons through the connecting rods connected to the crankshaft. From the crankshaft, the pistons are connected by using connecting rod, right? And they are offset from the axis of rotation. Okay, this offset sometimes called crank through or crank radius, because the crank will not be like this. It's wrong, right? The design like this offset. So some are up, some are down for balancing purpose. From here one connecting rod will go, from here one connecting rod, from here one connecting rod, from right. So there will be some offset. This offset is called crank radius or crank through. Okay, so next, connecting rod. The rod connecting the piston with the rotating crankshaft, and this connecting rod is made up of steel or forging, alloy forging in most of the engines, but maybe aluminum some small engines, because if you use aluminum, what will happen due to the stresses? Because the stresses are fluctuating stresses. Sometimes when the piston is moving upward direction, it is subjected to compressive stresses, and again it will be subjected to tensile stresses. It is subjected to tensile as well as compressive stresses. If you use aluminum, it cannot withstand that stresses. Therefore, we will go for the steel most of the times. And piston rings, these are the metal rings that are fit into the circumferential grooves around the piston and form a sliding surface against the cylinder walls. Okay, these are the cylinder. Now we can see this is the crankshaft. This is the crankshaft. So how many pistons can be connected with this crankshaft? There is a provision for one. Here second connecting rod, third, and here we have 4. Right, you can see, are these all what we call shafts are in same line? No, they are different. We can call this distance is called offset, right? So this axis is different, this axis is different, this axis is different, this axis. This distance is called offset or crank radius. Okay, right. Now we can see this is the connecting rod. This is the small end of the connecting rod. It is connected to the piston end, and this is the bigger end of the connecting rod. It is connected to the crankshaft. Means this portion is going to sit over here, right now. So we can open this by using these nuts, and we can fix over here. And these are all piston rings. These are all piston rings. Camshaft plays a major role in operation of valves as well as the fuel injection as well as spark injection, right? So the rotating shaft used to push open valves at the proper time in the engine. At what time inlet valve has to open, at what time the exhaust valve has to open, everything will be taken care by the camshaft. Okay, and how it will be? Through mechanical only it will operate. So through the, we can call it as push rods and rocker arms. I will show you in the next slide how push rods are there, how they are going to operate the valves. Okay, so the mechanical linkage between, because I have camshaft over here and I have valves over here. How these valves and camshaft are connected? By using push rods and as well as by using push rods and rocker arms. There will be push rods and rocker arms are used to connect cams as well as the valves. Okay, right. So the mechanical linkage between camshaft and valves on overhead valve engine with camshaft in the crankcase. Okay, the crankcase is the part of the block surrounding the crankshaft, right? In many engines, the oil pan makes the part of the crank. Means the crankcase consists of lubricating oil used for the lubrication of the different parts. Wherever there is relative motion, there we need to do the lubrication. And this is the exhaust manifold. It is the piping system which carries exhaust gases away from the engine cylinders, usually made up of cast iron, right? It depends upon if 4 cylinders are there, 4 passages are merged into the single passage. From this, the exhaust gases are escaped to the atmosphere. Even like this, we have intake manifold also. If 4 cylinders are there, from one inlet, it will be bifurcated into 4 inlets like this. So this is air will go, and this is connected to all cylinders. You can see. Now you can see this is what? Tell me what is this one? This is the crankcase over here. Crankcase, bottom portion of this one. Okay, and here you can see this is the camshaft. Can you see the projection over here?
Yes.
Yeah, these are the
Yes,
projections.
cam
Now
holes.
total. Now tell me on this shaft total how many cams are there?
8.
8.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Total 8 are there, right? So means this cam is, one cam is for inlet valve opening, other cam is exhaust valve opening. Similarly, inlet valve, exhaust valve, inlet, exhaust, like that. Means this cam is for used for 4-cylinder engines. Okay, and this is the gear on the camshaft. There is relation between crank and cam. There is relation between crank and cam. Okay, right. So here let us say this is the gear on, yeah, this is the gear on the crankshaft, this is the gear on the camshaft. Actually the speed ratio is 1/2. Means if the crank rotates 100 rpm, your cam rotates 50 rpm. If crank rotates on, means if the number of teeth are here 20, here the number of teeth are 40. 20/40, right? So therefore the speed is reduced exactly half of. That is the relation between camshaft and crankshaft. If crank rotates 20 rpm, cam rotates only, sorry, if number of teeth on crank are 20 and cam are 40, thereby the speed of the cam will be exactly half of the speed of the crank. You can see this is the manifold. It may be intake manifold or exhaust manifold. If you see the cross section of the cam, this is the cam, and these rods are called push rods. These rods, these are push rods, and these are all rocker arms. These are all rocker arms. So they are hinged at this point, right? So if this projection hits here, right here it is hinged. The rocker arm is hinged over here, right? If this projection hits this one, what will happen? At this portion it will raised, and at this portion it will be lowered because of the hinge. Agree?
Yes.
When the cam is in operation, when the cam is in operation, this push rod will be moved upward direction, and this rocker arm is hinged over here. Thereby the other end it will be lowered. Therefore what will happen? This will push the wall downward direction against the spring force. Again is the spring force. As soon as this cam moves away from this projected part, what will happen? This spring force is used to come back back to the original position of the wall. This is the working of push rod as well as rocker arms. Clear how the walls are operated? So because of this means, if you take one cam, this is the cross section of the cam. If you take one like that, how many cams we have? 8 cams. Means how many push rods are there? 8 push rods will be there. 8 rocker arms will be there, like that. And this is the manifold. So 1 to 4 or 4 to 1. If it is intake, 1 to 4. If it is exhaust, 4 to 1. From here, silencer will connect it. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. Intake manifold. Okay. And carburetor. So carburetor, what is the purpose of carburetor? It is used to mix the air fuel mixture. Okay. And required quantity means the required quantity as well as quality. That is the air fuel mixture. We will discuss. A device which meters the proper amount of fuel into the airflow by means of pressure differential. Okay. For many decades, it was the basic fuel metering system on all automobile. Nowadays, this carburetor is replaced by MPFI system, multi-point fuel injection. Okay, so carburetor, the main problem with the carburetor is, now if you compare diesel and petrol, which is viscous one, which is having higher viscosity?
Diesel.
Petrol.
Petrol, right now. So
Viscosity.
therefore, viscosity is more for the petrol only. Okay, suppose if you don't use the engine for more time, what will happen? The carburetor will consist of petrol. What will happen? It will clog the walls because the openings are very small, micron diameter. So if you don't use the engine for more time because of higher viscosity, what will happen? It will create a layer. It will block the walls of the carburetor. So that is the reason MPFI system came into picture. Okay, right. We'll discuss next. Spark plug. Spark plug, it is an electrical device which is used to initiate the combustion in spark ignition engines. That is the petrol engines. A high voltage of a spark is admitted into the engine cylinder. Can you guess how much amount of volts required to start the combustion? Can anyone?
Thousands of volts.
Thousands of volts. 12 volt or 5 volts is not, because these are the batteries, right? We require 20 to 40,000 volts. 20,000, 40,000 volts. Why? Because already it is air fuel mixture under high pressure and temperature. That too, it is in the gaseous form. Okay, right. It is fine spray. Even small spark is sufficient to start the combustion. Agree? If you keep a small flame, 1 volt also sufficient to initiate the combustion. Agree?
Yes.
But why we are taking 10,000, 20,000, 40,000 volts?
Complete combustion is not possible. Lower
Because good. If you use small volts, what will happen? It may take time to complete the combustion. It may take more time to complete the combustion, right? So what will happen? Due to that lower rate of combustion, the pressure developed inside the engine cylinder will be very low, and that pressure is not sufficient to run the engine. Okay, our ultimate aim is to complete the combustion at a faster rate. We need to complete the combustion in less than microseconds, right? 0.002 seconds is also a lag. 0.002 second is also a lag. We need to complete the combustion within that time. Okay, for that, in order to complete that at faster rate, what we require? We require higher voltage by using primary windings, secondary windings. We'll discuss in ignition systems. Okay, that is the reason why the main purpose of high voltage is to complete the combustion at faster rate. Thereby, we can make use of the energy. Otherwise, if the voltage is very less, though the combustion will take place, it will take more time. The liberated energy may not sufficient to drive the engine. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now we will see. Right. Now we'll discuss about wall timing diagram and port timing diagram. Okay, right. So what is meant by wall timing diagram? Wall timing diagram is nothing but, right. So at what angle of crank, very, very important. We will do all those things in the lab. Okay, at what angle inlet valve is opened? At what angle of crank, I can say, at what angle of crank inlet valve is open, inlet valve is closed. Okay, and exhaust valve is opened and exhaust valve is closed. The recording of these things is nothing but the wall timing diagram. To know at what position of the crank the inlet valve is open, at what position of the crank it is getting closed. Similarly, at what position exhaust valve is open, at what position exhaust valve is closed. Okay, right. First we will discuss theoretical one. Okay, right. So theoretical one, let us take 4-stroke engine. Total how many revolutions of cranks are required to complete the cycle in 4-stroke engine?
720.
Yeah, 2 revolution, nothing but 720 degree. 720 degree. In this 2 revolution, how many operations? 4 operations. 4 operations has to complete. So one is the suction, compression, expansion or power stroke, and exhaust, right? Means this 720 is divided into 4 strokes, that is 180 degree, 180 degree, 180 degree and 180 degree. This is according to theoretical one, but actual case, this is ideal or theoretical. According to theoretical one, the suction stroke is for 180 degrees revolution of the crank, that is half of the revolution of the crank, and compression is for 180 degrees, and power or expansion is also 180 degree, and exhaust is also 180 degree. But in actual case, it is not happening. How it will be, we will see. Okay, according to theoretical one, it is 180, 180, 180. Okay, but in actual case, what is happening? The inlet valve is opened before closing the exhaust valve. Inlet valve is opened before closing the exhaust valve, and inlet valve is closed after BDC. We will see in diagrammatically. Okay, right. So if you see 4-stroke diesel engine or petrol engine, okay, so the mainly, so we know that suction stroke, compression, power and exhaust strokes has to complete, right? So what is happening during suction, I already told. Is it is required to explain again in petrol engine and diesel engine? What? No, not required, right?
No, sir.
Yeah, right. If you want also, anyhow I will share. If anybody having doubt also, you can, right? The same thing what I explained. Let me recall. During the suction stroke, inlet valve is open, exhaust valve is closed, as you know, and the pressure inside the cylinder will be atmosphere. As the piston moves TDC to BDC, vacuum is created. Okay, the pressure is decreased. Thereby, due to the pressure difference, what will happen? Air plus petrol mixture will be entered into the engine cylinder in case of SI engine, and in CA engine only air will be admitted into the engine cylinder. The crank has now made 180 degrees at the end of the suction stroke. The whole the cylinder will be filled with the charge. Charge is nothing but air fuel mixture. This is the air fuel mixture, and inlet valve is closed. That is the suction stroke. Whereas coming to compression stroke, the piston is moving from BDC to TDC. Inlet valve, exhaust valve both are closed during the compression stroke. As the stroke is performed, the charged will be compressed, the pressure and temperature will be raised, and the process is shown in the figure. At the end of the stroke, what will happen? In case of SI engine, spark is injected. In case of CA engine, diesel is injected through the fuel injector, and therefore the combustion begins at constant volume in case of petrol engine, and in case of diesel engine at constant pressure, because petrol engines works based on the Otto cycle and diesel engine works based on the diesel cycle. And during the power stroke, both the valves are in closed position. The high pressure, high temperature gases force the piston downward direction. That is the working strokes or expansion stroke. So, right, the engine produces mechanical work during this process, and as the piston moves from TDC to BDC, the pressure decreases gradually. At the end of the stroke, what will happen? Exhaust valve will be open, and the gases will leave to the atmosphere through the gases. Okay, so that's what this is about, the working of the 4-stroke engine. Now can you see this is the wall timing diagram for diesel engine. The left side one is the theoretical one or ideal one. The left diagram is theoretical or ideal wall timing diagram. Now starting from here, what is IVO? Now this is TDC and this is bottom dead center, top dead center. The distance is called stroke length.
Deck wall.
Yeah, IVO means inlet valve open. According to theoretical one, inlet valve has to open when the piston is at the top dead center. This is theoretical one. First, let me complete this. Now, the piston is moving TDC to BDC, therefore the crank. This circle rotate denotes the rotation of the crank. The crank completes 180 degree from here to here, thereby the inlet valve is closed. This process is the suction. This is 180 degree. Okay, now immediately the piston is at the present the piston is at the bottom dead center. Now the piston is moving towards the top dead center, right? So at this point inlet valve is closed and exhaust valve is also in closed position. Therefore, whatever the charge admitted into the engine cylinder during suction stroke will be compressed and it will be continued till TDC. And according to theoretically, it is diesel engine. Okay, so this is air is admitted during suction stroke, and now with help of fuel injector, we are injecting or we are spraying the diesel into the engine cylinder at the top dead center. According to theoretically, I am detailing. Now what will happen due to this? Combustion is initiated, thereby the high pressure, high temperature gases will be liberated. And what is the angle for the compression? The compression angle is also 180 according to theoretical one. Now these high pressure, high temperature gases will push the piston downward direction, and the piston is moving from TDC to BDC. Thereby the expansion or power is completed. This is also one more 180 degree. Now exactly at the bottom dead center, the exhaust valve is opening. Therefore, the gases present inside the engine cylinder are escaping to the atmosphere. Okay, now the exhaust valve is opened at BDC and it will close at the TDC. Therefore, the angle covered is 180 degree. Therefore, what is the total angle covered? Total angle is 720 degree. This is according to theoretical one. Any doubt in theoretical diagram? Please tell me. The valves will open exactly at top dead center, inlet valve, and closes at bottom dead center, and exhaust valve opens at the bottom dead center, closes at the top dead center, and each stroke is divided into 180 degree, 180 degree. Please respond. Any doubt in this one?
No, sir.
No. Now coming to the actual case, right side diagram. Right. Now observe these two figures. Earlier inlet valve is open. Earlier inlet valve is open at top dead center, but now this line is this is the top dead center. Now is the inlet valve is opened at top dead center?
No, before it.
No, now the inlet valve is opened before top dead center around 25 degree. The inlet valve is open. I'll tell you why the reason it is. Okay, inlet valve is open 25 degree before TDC, and this is the position of the opening, right? Now the suction started. Is this inlet valve is closing at BDC?
No.
Before
No,
BDC.
No,
it is closing after BDC. This is after, and this side this is before. Similarly, this is before TDC, and this is after TDC. Okay, means if you compare theoretical with the actual case, the inlet valve is opened before and closing after. Means the total angle for suction is it is equal to 180 here. It is greater than 180. It is greater than 180. The reason here is, now tell me, if you see if you recall the previous diagram, you can see cam, push rods, rocker arms. Will the valves will open instantaneously or gradually?
They'll open gradually.
Gradually, right? Yes, means they won't open at a time and they won't close at a time. It's not like switches, right? It will open gradually and it will closes gradually. Means for opening and closing it will take certain time. That is the one reason, and we are giving, that is one reason for to open the walls and to close the walls. We are giving the more angle, and second reason is if more time available for the suction, more amount of charge will be admitted into the cylinder, thereby the volumetric efficiency can be increased. Clear the reasons?
Yes.
Right. So what will happen? More time is available for the suction, therefore more amount of charge will be admitted, thereby the volumetric efficiency is increased. Now next, as usual, compression. Right, before end of the compression, what will happen? The fuel valve is opened, right? So this is the angle, this is the time. Now you can see the piston is not at reach TDC. Before reaching TDC, we are injecting the fuel, This is the diesel fuel, right now. So because this much amount of time, so what is 5 degrees before, right? You can see 5 degrees before TDC fuel valve is opened. Thereby there is certain time is available for complete the combustion process. Thereby high pressure, high temperature gases will be liberated. Okay, and you can see fuel valve is opened 5 degrees before TDC and closes 25 degrees after TDC. Therefore, what is the total time available for the fuel injection? 30 degrees of crank. Clear? It is opened 5 degrees before TDC and closes 25 degrees after TDC. Means more fuel is admitted, thereby the high pressure and high temperature will be liberated. Once the pressure and temperature liberated, what will happen? They will push the piston downward direction, thereby the power stroke starts. The power stroke starts again. There is again difference between exhaust valve opening. Here in theoretical one, exhaust valve is opening exactly at BDC, but here exhaust valve is opened 45 degrees before BDC and exhaust valve is closing 15 degrees after TDC. Means here the angle available for the exhaust is 180 plus 45 plus 15. Okay, so therefore it will be 240 degree. Here even suction also 25 degree before plus 180 30 degrees after. Okay, 235 degree. 235 degree for suction, 240 degree for exhaust. Now what will happen if the exhaust valve is opened before and closed after? Means we are giving more time for the exhaust gases to escape from the engine cylinder, so that fresh charge can be entered into the engine cylinder. Now if you observed, inlet valve is opened before closing the exhaust valve. I can say exhaust valve is closed after opening the inlet valve.
So, sir, this exhaust will not leak through inlet.
Any doubt do you have? I am telling that inlet valve is opened before closing the exhaust valve, because you can see we are closing exhaust valve over here. Let me erase all the things. Right. Now if you see exhaust valve is opened here. Exhaust valve is opened here and exhaust valve is closed here. But before that only inlet valve is open. Before this only inlet valve is open, because the incoming air will be used to remove the gases from the engine cylinder. The air is used to remove the gases from the engine cylinder completely. Therefore, there is no dilution of the air. Suppose if any burnt gases are present inside the engine cylinder at the end of the exhaust stroke, what will happen? The quality of the charge will be decreased. Thereby, the high pressure, high temperature will not be liberated during combustion process. Is it clear?
Yes.
Right. So this is about the diesel engine. Right, inlet valve is opened 25 degrees before and closed 30 degrees. You need to remember these angles because very important for exam point of view. Okay, and fuel valve opens 5 degrees before, closes 25 degrees after. Exhaust valve is opened before BDC 45 degree and closed after TDC. And valve overlap. Valve overlap is that. What is valve overlap? So it is the duration during which both inlet valve and exhaust valves are in open position. That is called valve overlap. You can see it is inlet valve is open 25 degree and exhaust valve is closed 5 degree after. So 5 plus 25. This is the valve overlap. This 30 degrees is the valve overlap during which both the valves are in open position. Okay, now it is petrol engine is also similar to diesel engine. The only difference is here we are injecting the spark, there the fuel injection. Remaining is same, 180 degree for suction, 180 degree for compression, 180 degrees for power and 180 degrees for exhaust. Inlet valve is opened exactly at the TDC, closing exactly at BDC, and exhaust valve is opening exactly at BDC and closing exactly at TDC. Similar to the same diagram, only difference is here if you use fuel injector, that will become diesel engine. If you use spark plug, it will be theoretical petrol engine. Now if you come here, as usual, inlet valve is opened before, inlet valve is closed after. The angle is more compared to diesel engine here. Maybe for diesel engine, inlet valve is opened 25 degrees before, 30 degrees after, but here 35 degrees before, 35 degrees after. Therefore total time, sorry,
20 degrees before only it's opening, sir.
1 second.
35 degrees is
Yes,
for
yes, 20 degrees before only. Very good. 20 degrees before plus 180 plus 35 degrees after. So it will be around 235 degree. Therefore, there also I think 235, right?
Yes.
There also,
Yes, sir.
yeah. There 25 and 30. Here 20 and 35. Yes or no? There 25 and 30, here 20 and 35, but total angle will be remain same. The reason what I told, the walls are not opening instantaneously, they will open certain time, therefore they will take certain time to get open completely, and at the same time they will take time to close completely. That is one reason. And second reason is, if more time available for the suction, more amount of charge will be admitted, thereby the volumetric efficiency is increased. And inlet valve is closed over here. From here compression starts, right? So at an angle 35 degrees before reaching TDC, 35 degrees before reaching TDC, the spark is injected into the engine cylinder. Where in case of diesel engine, the fuel valve opens 5 degrees before and closes 25 degrees after. Total 30 degree. Here total 35 degree available for the combustion. 35 degree available for the combustion here, right now, because less angle for diesel engine, more angle for petrol engine, because in diesel engine we are spraying the diesel with help of the nozzle or injector. Thereby what will happen, combustion initiates at so many points wherever the fuel is injected, therefore the less time is sufficient for the diesel engine. Whereas coming to spark injection, the combustion initiate near the spark plug, and that flame front has to travel complete the cylinder. Therefore we are giving 5 degrees extra to complete the combustion in case of petrol engine. So it means in case of diesel engine, the combustion takes place at different points because of the fuel is injected. Whereas in case of petrol engine, the combustion initiates near the spark plug and it has to travel throughout the combustion chamber. That is the reason 5 degrees extra we are giving. So that is the spark is injected, thereby the combustion begins, and from here the power stroke starts, and exhaust valve is open 35 degrees before and 10 degrees after. But now tell me, what is the total valve overlap over here?
30, sir.
Total valve overlap 30 degrees. Yes, 20 degrees before TDC, 10 degrees after. 30 degrees the total valve. Here also same 30 degree. Okay, na? Here also same 25.5. Here 20.10. Okay, right. So you can see 20 degrees before TDC inlet valve opens, 35 degrees after BDC it is closing. Fuel valve, it's not fuel valve, it is the spark plug, spark injection. Spark injection 35 degrees before TDC, and exhaust valve opens 35 degrees before BDC and closes 10 degrees after TDC, and valve overlap 30 degree. Okay, so with this I'll stop today.
Sir, on WhatsApp